And we'll do 10 per side. So once you've finished 10 on that side, we'll plant the other foot down, raise that other leg up in the air, that off leg, and keep it lifted while we do 10 more. Really squeezing your glutes to get your hips as high as you can. And nice and slow and controlled. Feeling each little vertebrae come down to the mat. And then once you've finished, we'll go ahead and roll on over, so you'll be on your hands and knees, but we'll sit back so that your butt is on your heels, and then reach one arm up to the sky, and then try to thread it through this hole created underneath your elbow. So you're doing these like thoracic twists, getting your shoulders really twisty. Reaching up to the sky, and then underneath your armpit. And same thing, we're going to try to do like 10 on each side, nice and slow and steady. And then we'll go ahead and switch to the other side. Again, your butt should be back onto your heels so that your hips aren't twisting at all, but just your upper spine is doing the twist. And then once you've finished with 10 on both sides of those thoracic twists, we're going to come into a forward plank. So your hands will be planted, and we're going to go ahead and raise those knees up into the air, plant your toes, and come into a plank. And then from here, we're going to go into our plank shoulder taps. So we're going to take left hand tap to right shoulder, plant it back down, right hand tap to left shoulder, and really trying to stay nice and stable with your hips rocking as minimally as possible. And we'll do 20 taps, so 10 per side. And then once you've finished, we're going to go ahead and go back to the glute bridge. And so we'll do 10 raises with our both feet down. And again, really squeezing your glutes to get your hips up as high as you can. And then 10 per leg, one leg glute bridge raise. Still being in control of your movement, but if you want to speed it up a little bit for the second round, that's totally fine. And again, 10 per side. then once you've gotten through all your glute bridge, we'll roll on over again. And we'll do those thoracic twists. And so again, your butt is planted to your heels, so your hips are square and not moving at all, anchored to your feet. And then twisting one arm up to the sky while the opposite arm stays planted. And then twisting through your armpit. Smells good down there. We'll do 10 per side. Smells like onions. Maybe it's just me. Same thing, staying in control but speeding it up if you feel like it for the second round. And then shoulder taps. And again, we're going to do 20 total shoulder taps coming up into a plank. Also, if the plank shoulder tap is too much, you can totally keep your knees down. That's fine. Just warming up here. But we'll if you're feeling it, you can come up to that plank and do 20 total shoulder taps. And take your time finishing that up, but once you're done, you can rest. Also, you can rest whenever you want. Some of you are already done. That's great. Can you see me again now? Yay! Okay, that's so good to hear. I was going to have us do something different, but hopefully you're feeling a little bit looser. And now you're going to need your item, and hopefully it's something that you can hold in one hand. And again, if you don't have an item, then you could use maybe like a towel even could be an okay item, at least for this part, because we're going to hold it in two hands. So you can just like get some tension on a towel and kind of like pull it apart, and that can be where you get resistance. Or again, like a water bottle's fine, and you could pretend like it's a little bit heavier. But we're going to go ahead and stand up. And then you're going to take your item with two hands, and you're going to have it over your head, and you're going to make these small little circles, like a little halo over your head. And your elbows don't need to flare out too much. They can stay nice and tight. But for the most part, you're trying to stay relaxed in your neck. And we're just opening up our shoulders a little bit. So nice little halos around your head. And once you've done 5-ish, we'll come and go in the other direction. And we'll do 5-ish in the other direction as well. And so again, if you're using like a towel or something, you can just kind of pull it apart a little bit and make these little halos over your head. Or same thing with your water bottle. And we'll do 10 per side. And then the next thing we'll do is a bent row. Same thing, two hands on your item, or your whatever it is, and you'll just hinge forward, keeping your back flat, and you'll pull it straight up to your chest and then back down again. Holding for a moment at the top, and then coming back down nice and slow. And we'll do 10. And once we finish with 10 of those, you're going to hold your item to your chest. Same thing, if you got that towel, you can just be, again, slightly pulling it apart, but holding it in front of you. And we're going to squat down. It doesn't matter how deep right now, and then press up overhead. And we'll do that 10 times. And again, the depth of your squat is not important. We're kind of just still ramping up the intensity, kind of on our second step of our warm-up here. So really just trying to get moving here with your item. And again, we'll do 10-ish. And then the last thing you're going to do with your item is you're going to take it and you're going to raise it up over your head, and bending your knees, bending your elbows, bending your hips, you're going to just make this big swooping circle all the way down and back up where it started. Basically, there's not really a necessarily right way to do this. You're just trying to move your hips and your knees, just flowing, taking up a lot of space. And we'll do 5 in one direction and then 5 in the other direction. And then you can set your item down and take a little breather for a moment. And then we're just going to do one more round of that stuff. So starting with the little halos, 5 in each direction. And then back the other way. Bent rows were next. And then hold for a moment at the top. And then once you've done 10, it's that squat plus press for 10-ish. Whoa, make sure you stay in balance. As you're squatting down, really work to keep your heels down. And if that's limiting your depth, it's better to just keep your heels down and worry about the depth later. And then the big around the world is what I call this one, the big swoops, all the way down and up, 5 in each direction. Okay, take another little breather. Keep your item close by. And we're going to go into our strength set next, so hopefully you're feeling a little bit prepped and warm once you finish your last round of that warm-up. That looks like a heavy item to be around the worlding. Nice job. Some of you were around the worlding heavy items. And some of you were around the worlding less heavy items, and it's all good. And so, speaking of which, whatever your item is, we're going to be using it for our strength circuit, so keep it around, and there'll be plenty of options based on what you're working with, so I'm sure we'll be able to make it work, even if you're working with minimal supplies. So as you're resting, I'll just break down this first movement, and then you'll get a chance to practice a few. So the first movement is going to be a bent row, and we're going to hold for a 3 count at the top every time. So similar to what we were just doing for our warm-up, we'll be hinging forward, keeping your back nice and flat, and then you're going to be pulling your item up to your chest and holding for 3, 2, 1. Staying in control on the way down, so taking at least another 1 count to come back down, and then back up, holding for 3, 2, 1, and back down. So depending on what you're working with, you can do these with 2 hands on your item, or you could do them with 1, if that's a little bit more appropriate for what you've got. But we're going to do the same exact thing, holding for that 3 count at the top, nice and slow on the way down, holding for that 3, 2, 1, nice and slow on the way down. And making sure you're not twisting too much as you have only 1 item in your hand. Or again, if you're working with a towel or something, you can really focus on pulling that towel apart, getting good tension on it, only holding it about shoulder width apart, hinging forward, constantly pulling apart on this towel as you pull it up to your chest. 3, 2, 1, back down. 3, 2, 1. And so depending on what you're working with, you might want to do between 6 to 12 reps total. So if you have 1 hand, maybe you want to do 5 per side. If you are using both hands, maybe you want to do 10 or 12. total reps, not per side, because you'd be holding it in 2 hands. So everyone go ahead and maybe this will be like our practice round. So just go ahead and try your first set of bent rows with whatever your item is and see how it goes. And again, we're holding for that whole 3 count at the top for each rep. And so the hold should be what starts to feel hard by the end. And as you're doing these, really think about keeping your elbow close to your body, but really punching it straight back as your back stays flat and square. And release that tension from your neck. Put that neck tension into your core. Squeeze your stomach. All right, so I just did like about 6 per side, so that can be kind of your scale for how it should feel. And then the next one we're going to do is going to be a strict press overhead. And so again, you can use one dumbbell and do them one arm. And we're going to be seated, so sitting feet straight forward, sitting on a chair if you have one, sitting in any style that you want to sit. But we're just going to practice up, keeping this elbow in front of you and just driving straight up. We're going to hold for 3 at the top, 3, 2, 1, coming down in control. And then again, 1 hand item or 2 hand items, same options as the bent row. And so you can decide what makes the most sense for you. And same thing, 8 to 12 reps total. And ready, go ahead and try it out, this first round, practice round. Yes, perfect. Nice work. And then the last movement for our strength circuit is going to be push-ups, everybody's favorite. And so the goal, what we're going to be doing today is you have 1 set to do a max amount of unbroken push-ups. And so what that means is you can like hold a plank and rest at the top, but as soon as you need to stop doing push-ups, then you're done. And we'll be having multiple attempts at this, so it's like you can kind of try to be strategic about it if you want to try to be like consistent with your sets, or if you want to try to just go hard on your first set and see how many you can keep up with. It's totally fine to take this however you want. The goal is to get at least 10 reps on the first set. So if doing like strict plank push-ups, chest to the deck, and then back up again, you can't do 10 of those in a row, then go ahead and put your knees down, or grab, maybe if you have like a bench or something nearby, or even a wall you can use to do your push-ups too, but find something where you're going to be able to get at least 10 reps on that first try. And if you're getting more than 10, and like even if you can do like 30, that's fine. Like you can still just do 30 push-ups for that first set. That's great. But some of us will be getting more like 10, and that's also good. And so if doing the incline means you're going to get 30, great. Because some of us, I think, also might get like 30. And yeah, if you're ready, you can go for it. So 1 set, as many push-ups as you can without taking a break. Ready, go. And then take a little rest and When you're ready, we can just go right back to the bent row, and then the strict press, and then another set of push-ups. Resting as you want to, getting lots of rest. And we have like 10 more minutes to go through this, so you'll get, including that last set, like 3 to 5 sets in, however many you want to do. Nice job. I feel like everyone's push-ups are getting better. They still suck, but after, like, I've never done this many push-ups. It's like something we can do in quarantine, so. All right, and then when you feel good to go, we'll go back to the top. Some of you are already there, that's great. That bent row, holding for 3 at the top. Press was next. Some of you are already on it. Yes, love it. And this is what's great. We can all be going at a different pace and just taking out of this part whatever you need. And just remembering to try to get that 3 count hold in the top on your press. And fight that urge to lean back. Squeeze your rib cage into your pelvis. Tight tum. Yes, and then it's those push-ups. Nice work. Make sure you're getting rest. Like, take a little break. You need rest before you do a set of push-ups unbroken. As many as you can. Oh! Wow, Chena, you are paying very good attention. Oh, they're so sweet. Five minutes left for this part. Okay, I guess I can do one more set. Oh no, no time left for the last push-ups. I'm just joking. We have like 2 minutes or 3 minutes left. Yeah. About 2-ish minutes left to go through this stuff. And if you're done with it, you can rest. That's great. Or if you just want to do something else entirely, you know. It's all good. Take like one last minute to finish up / rest. Yeah, nice job. Okay, go ahead and rest. And as you're resting, drink some water and think about how many push-ups you got on your lowest set. And try to remember that number because we're going to come back to it in a minute. So don't forget it. But it's not important right now. So what you will need now, though, is your item, whatever it is, and we're going to try to hold it in one hand. And we're going to practice a couple moves that we're going to implement for the next part. So let's start with your item in your right hand. You're gonna take a nice wide stance, like just outside your shoulders. Toes are gonna point out. We'll hinge forward at the hips so that your back stays nice and flat and the item stays between your legs. And we're gonna shrug and pull, punch that elbow through and catch it. We're gonna do a clean and catch it at your shoulder. And so a sumo stance, clean. And so just everyone go ahead and practice a couple of those with your item. And again, even if you're just holding a little water bottle or something, you can still practice getting tight, squeezing your hips through, punching that elbow through to catch it in the front rack. Once you've done a few on one side, go ahead and practice a few on the other side as well. And if you only have a two-handed item, that's totally fine. Get both hands on that thing and clean it up there. And so let's start again with the item in our right hand, and let's hold it in the front rack like we just did one of those cleans. We're going to take that same stance, and we're going to do a Cossack squat down to the right, so the same side where the dumbbell is. And so we'll do a couple of those, just practicing squatting down into that leg on the same side as your item. Yeah, nice job. And again, if this toe comes up on the off leg, it's totally fine. Either way is good. And let's go ahead and try some on the other side. So let's move the dumbbell to the other shoulder or whatever your item is, and we'll try squatting down to that side. Again, the same side where the item is. And again, like 3 to 5 of those, just feeling it out. And so now we're gonna do, let's put it back in our right hand. We're gonna do a clean plus Cossacks on that side. And then we'll switch to the other hand and do the same thing. Clean plus Cossacks. Yeah, really nice. Maybe like try a couple, maybe do like two, one on the right, one on the left, 2 times. All right, and then we're gonna go ahead and set the item down. Keep this wide stance though. And we're gonna come down into the bottom of your Cossack, and you're gonna pretend like you have this item in your right hand, just like we're squatting down to the right side. So this is maybe what some of you are already doing. And this time, as you come up, you're gonna punch up overhead. And so just kind of practice a few on each side. Same side as your item, punching up that same side. Nice. And then this last time, we're gonna add a pivot. So wide base, pretend item on your right shoulder, squatting down into the Cossacks on the right side, extending, punching, pivot. So your hips kind of slam through like you're throwing a big frisbee throw, I guess. And so you can try a couple of those. So Cossacks into pivot press. Oopsie, that was like a squat. Cossacks aside, pivot press. Yeah, nice. And then try a few on that other side if you haven't already. And again, trying to send it straight up overhead as you pivot rather than forward. So squatting to the side and then straight up. Hips go through, but your arm goes straight up. Okay, now grab your item again. Wide stance. Start with it out front. We're gonna go clean, Cossacks, pivot, punch up into the air. And then we'll switch to the other side. Clean, Cossacks, pivot, punch. Nice work. Switch to the other side. Clean, Cossacks, pivot, and press up overhead, really slamming your hips through at the same time you go up overhead. Okay, and if that's just not working for you, we can come up with a modification for the next part. But we're gonna do some of those complex for the next part. What was the challenge? Do I need to, other questions? Did I forget a part? If you have two-handed item, it's gonna be hard to do the pivot punch. So you can clean, and then you can just Cossacks right, Cossacks left, plus a press, and that's totally fine if you have a two-handed item. Cool, okay, so now think back, what was your last or your lowest set of push-ups? And you're gonna take that number, you're gonna take like a third off of it. So for example, my last set was 15. So my new number is like 10. If your number was 12, your new number is like 8. If you did 30, your number is like 20. And so what we're gonna do is we're gonna do 5 of the complex on your right side, 5 of the complex on your left, so 10 total, because we're alternating with each one. And then you're gonna do your number of push-ups, whatever that is. So for me, it's 10 and 10. This is kind of convenient. And we're going to go for 2 minutes, and then we're going to rest 1 minute, and we're going to repeat that 4 times. Okay, what needs explaining? It's a little bit complicated. You're going to do 10 total of the complex, whatever it is that you're doing for the complex today. We can all be doing a different complex, and that's fine. And then you're going to do 10 or however many X amount of push-ups for 2 minutes. Just keep going round and round and round after you do your push-ups, do your complex. And then we'll rest 1 minute and repeat. Let's go. Gina's ready. Okay. Everyone's good to go? Yep. Okay, starting with your complex. We're going to get started in 3, 2, 1, go! So, clean, Cossacks, pivot punch, and then switch. We'll do 10 total. Got 30 more seconds. So if you haven't gotten through one round of the complex, you can go ahead and drop those reps down so that you can get all the way through. And if you got through 3 times already, just keep going. Ten more seconds. 3, 2, 1. Rest. Okay, 1 minute to rest. And then you're just gonna pick up right where you left off. So I was on rep 5 out of 10 on my complex, so I'm just gonna pick up and do rep number 6, rep number 7, rep number 8, rep number 9, rep number 10, and then go to my push-ups. So just pick up wherever you left off. And 1 minute's gonna go quick. Already half of it went away. We got 30 more seconds. Ten seconds. 3, 2, 1, go! Halfway through this round. minute. Three, 2, 1, rest. 1 minute to rest. And again, picking up where you left off. We're gonna go for 4 sets. So we're halfway. 30 more seconds for rest this time. If you want to do 2 sets, that's great. If you want to do 100 sets and just keep going afterwards, that's cool too. But I'm going to do 4. I think I can make it. Sometimes you never know. 10 seconds. Three, 2, 1, go. Seconds left. Ten seconds. 3, 2, 1. Rest. 1 more round. What, my shoulders are going to be sore tomorrow. My armpits. The onion patch. 30 more seconds. Oh, I got more push-ups to do still. All right, this is the last set. Try to keep getting about the same amount of work in. You can do it. Or if you're really into it, go faster. 10 seconds. 3, 2, 1, go. 1 minute left. Seconds. Ten seconds. 3, 2, 1. Rest. Rest. Oh my gosh. Really, like maybe some arm stretch would be good for your cool down.